Welcome back to the Rhubarb. Uh, Will and Patrick here remotely. To me, we got some Midwestern winter popping up, having some fun with the snow. So we're going to do it remotely this week. Episode 2 of the 2024 season. Kind of a mid start for the NFL, but we're getting the hang of it. We're getting better. Just want to shout out to anybody that's listening, anybody at all, even if it's a dog, let your dog listen to it. We'll soothe your dog, put him to sleep. Give him
Thanks for
some
listening,
good
Wrigley.
betting knowledge. Good Wrigley. Let's get Wrigley on a guest appearance here. Let us know about your dog at the Rhubarb Podcast at gmail.com or tweet us at the Rhubarb Podcast. We got quite a few things to talk about this week. So we'll go ahead and get into just kind of our headlines real quick. Talk about the Broncos blowout. And we're going to try to do a better job about hitting our headlines this week than we did. We only got like a 50% batting average last week on our episode.
It's week one. What do you expect?
So got the week one jitters. Broncos blow out the Falcons. Talk about Bo Nix. Geno Smith takes down the Niners. That was interesting. KC is no longer undefeated. Josh Allen took them down in the regular season. Can he do it in the playoffs, which is where the Buffalo Bills have come up short? Bengals still coming up short. Look, playoffs are not looking good. Not a good possibility for the Bengals. And then we're also going to talk about kind of hit on it last week, but we didn't get into it. Daniel Jones. But first, we are going to talk to our Bush League. Patrick, you're going to do Bush League. That's Bush League this week.
All right, so let me tell you what's Bush League. Bush League right now is Saquon Barkley leads the league with 9 carries to the 1 yard line, or 9 touches, shall we say, to the 1 yard line. Let me read you some statistics. Nick Sirianni, let me read you some statistics. After we hit the 9 yard line, the next plays are in sequential. Oh my God, I can't.
Sequential?
Yes, thank you. Plays. Hurts touchdown. Hurts touchdown. Hurts rush. Next play after that, touchdown. Hurts touchdown. Hurts touchdown. Saquon rush, loss of yards. Hurts touchdown. Hurts fumble. Hurts touchdown. You mean to tell me that your horse, who leads the league in getting you to the 1 yard line, and you can't feed him because you prefer the tush push? That's Bush League. Sirianni, feed your beast.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, it sounds like Saquon's very happy in Philadelphia, and he should be.
But the man literally turned down setting a career mark because they were up so much and said, let the boys eat. But at some point, you also have to let your man eat. Don't just let the boys eat.
I hope the Eagles would honor any contract points, that would, if he gets this bonus for touchdowns or something, they're not calling it.
He still has his touchdowns, but there are 9. I get you prefer the tush push. I get that. It's proven very effective for you. You know what else is proven effective for you? Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Give the man some love. Give him a 50-50 split. Not 1 out of 9.
Not Bush League. Don't pull the Bush League. All right. Let's keep on moving on. Let's talk about your favorite subject this year. QBs outperforming Caleb Williams. I'm sorry. QBs in the same draft class that are outperforming Caleb Williams.
QBs not painting their fingernails. So last week, as I called, I believe, the Broncos took down the Falcons. Right? I really screwed up.
Good
Hey,
call.
I apologize to anybody that listened last week. Most of my picks were pretty bad. I had a couple of them that were pretty good. But I called the Broncos. Bo Nix, 85% completion percentage, 307 yards, 4 TDs by a rookie quarterback against a potential playoff team. Not there, but in the mix.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Falcons had a letdown. I think you go in there kind of not expecting that from Bo Nix because he hasn't been there this season and he did all right. So
He has
that's
progressively gotten better.
gotten better.
He's done what you want to see out of a rookie quarterback. He
And
has
Sean Payton's
progressed.
the guy to do that. I think Sean Payton's the guy to gotta get those.
Right. But he has definitely progressed. He is not now you're going to have the setbacks every now and then, but you would like to see a rookie quarterback either maintain or get better every week. My
For
favorite,
sure.
Caleb Williams, is a freaking roller coaster. Sometimes he has a good game. Sometimes you don't know if he's actually on the field.
He must have listened because I think the time of holding the ball was down this past weekend.
Yeah, no, it
I
was
think
good.
I, think
It
I
was
could see
good.
that.
How'd they do? Yeah, no, they lost. Yeah, they still lost.
So, let's talk about
Uh,
winners. Geno Smith takes down the Niners. Do you think what
with
is
a
that?
with a with a pretty decently full Niners team.
Yeah, McCaffrey's
McCaffrey's
back.
back. Yep. Debo,
Um,
Kittle.
so with that, I mean, do you see the Niners being able to make a playoff run?
I'm not gonna base it off of one game. CMC looked pretty good 2 weeks ago in his first game back. Um, I think Smith. I can't even pronounce his last name. Jimba, whatever. Jimba Smith
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
Seattle, rookie.
Yeah,
I think he's finally starting to make a case whether he's actually pushing Lockett out, and it's becoming more of a Metcalf and him, and Lockett is more of kind of like an afterthought. He's getting more targets, so I think Seattle is setting themselves up. And I know you were asking about San Francisco, but I'm just saying I think Seattle is setting themselves up more for the future now by kind of pushing Lockett, who's getting older, to the side, but still using him as an as-need basis, but setting up their young studs to
Do you
carry
think
them
Geno
into the
Smith
future.
is the future for that franchise?
I think Geno Smith is getting the young studs confidence for the future.
Giving him experience, but not the guy. I don't think he's the guy.
No. I think he's the perfect guy for them now
Yeah.
because he's actually building their confidence. And so when they do find that guy, they've got studs around that guy that already have the confidence. And it's just going to elevate them even higher.
Let's talk about studs. Let's use that as a transition to studs and big time players that step up. Josh Allen, did you see that run he made and took the hit to get into the end zone? That was
Yeah.
impressive.
Impressive and stupid. I
You gotta do
understand
what you
you're.
gotta do. It's a big game. Get the touchdown, get your guys pumped. I think he protected himself.
I get it. Especially against a 9-0 Kansas City team. It's not the playoffs.
Well, listen, you're just used to Anthony Richardson, and he would have, slid at the 5. Well, he wouldn't have slid year one. Now he would just tap out. I'll get to the 5 and I'm going to go to the sideline. Uh,
Accurate.
Josh Allen steps up and gets a big win for the Bills.
I like the effort. I love the effort. But you were already in very good playoff contention spot. What happens if you take that hit and you don't bounce back?
Yeah.
Just because
I
you
don't think you
don't
can.
want to lose again to a 9-0 KC that has beat you every time.
I don't think you can play football that way. I mean, you got to play smart, and yeah,
Really?
don't
Let's
take
talk about the
don't
Giants.
let's not take unnecessary hits. Hold on, we'll get to Jones.
Sorry, I prefaced a little too early,
You're good.
but
You're good. You're good. We'll get there. But so I just think you can't have the quarterback play that way. He's
I
got to be all in, go and get it. And I think, hey, you go now that you're in the playoff game against the Chiefs, which is a very real scenario. I think you got more trust in the team as a player on that team, because your quarterback's the guy. He's going to get you in the end zone, do what it takes to get the win. So
but you also have
uh,
to be smart about it.
I think we're
Get
we're going to
hey,
agree to disagree that whether that was smart or
agree.
not. I think it was worth the
Let
risk.
I I get it, and I know this is a completely different situation. Anthony Richardson, year one, did not know when to go down and took very, very hard hits when they were not necessary. And
Yeah.
we saw where that got him.
In the scenario of Josh Allen, though, he saw the guy coming. I think he kind of tucks his shoulder a little
True.
bit, kind of
Yeah.
shows him his back, and kind of makes him fall into the end zone. So,
True. Okay. Yeah.
I think he's a smart guy. He's got it down,
And
and
he's big.
I think, and it was a big momentum part of the game, as I think, as
Right.
well, is where you gotta get in the end zone and get that touchdown.
Right.
And speaking of getting the touchdown, the Bengals are a big reason why you got to get to the red zone and get the touchdown. Missed field goal cuts them off, cuts their playoff chances, I think, down to 10% or whatever, making the
Not
playoffs this year.
singular. Not singular. Multiple
Right.
missed field goals.
Most field goals. So it was still in overtime, So I mean, I think it's, the
But Burrow's having
the
a career
offense.
year.
Yeah, the offense is still good. I mean, and the comeback
Offense is
from,
stellar. It's your special teams and your defense. The
although the
defense
offense
has
played
been
like they
good.
did in the second half and the first half,
Right.
as a
True.
non-contest.
Yeah. Chargers made them look like they were a JV team in the first half.
Yeah, Chargers just forgot to come out of the locker room in the second half. So,
Just like the
but
Bengals forgot to come out of the locker room in the first half. I mean,
that's true.
it shouldn't have even been close, to be honest.
Yeah. So, I think it's what was it, a Sunday night game? Monday night game? I'm sorry, I'm lost here.
That was
It
the
was a
Monday night game.
Monday night game. I think Harbaugh is going to get his guys up for that. I think that's just another one of those that, I have a lot of respect for Harbaugh. I'm not saying he's the best coach in the NFL because he doesn't have the Super Bowl ring, but he's a pretty good one. He's going to have his guys competitive for games like that, and
Right.
I just have a hard time saying, anything like that is going to be a blowout, even when you have what I call some of the talent discrepancy on
Right.
there.
Right.
Um,
Bengals definitely are more talented than the Chargers at this point, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
and you brought up something last week, and I didn't
Bosa
think
being
about it,
out
but
too.
you talk what? Sorry, say again.
I was talking about Bosa being out for the
Oh
Chargers as
yeah,
well.
the Chargers. That's true too. Um, but talk about guy coming back. Higgins comes back. You said, who has a better wide receiving core than the Bears? I think the Bengals are up there. Now that
They're up
Higgins is
there
back.
with Higgins and Chase.
Yeah.
Um,
Now that they're healthy. So that's the only thing. It's like, okay, they've had some tough games, some close games, a lot of close games that they've lost. Can they gain some momentum and start winning? They'd have to win out, I think, at this point, but
do they? Are they capable of bringing Higgins back after this year?
I don't know. I think it depends on how they do here. I think you got a lot of football here. I mean, the
Hey,
Bengals.
if
This
they
is
don't
weird.
make the
The Bengals have a
playoffs,
lot more football than a lot of other teams to see
right,
what is going to happen for
right.
contracts at the end of this year.
If
And
they
I think
don't make the
obviously Burrow is
playoffs, you
still
think
worth it. But
Higgins comes back?
do I think Higgins chooses to come back, or do I think that the Cincinnati brings him back?
Either.
I think Cincinnati would be stupid to let him go.
Yeah. Do you think they could afford him though?
Depends on how the season goes, right? I
Let's be
think
honest. You
that's
got two number ones. They're going to have to pay him like a number one. Can they afford him?
if you're Higgins, do you want to leave? You got a good setup.
Do you? What's your
I
record?
think you do. Well, other than the record, I mean, though, you've got Chase to take heat off of you. You've got Burrow throwing to you.
And yes, with that being said, I will reference that back to Antonio Brown, Juju Smith Schuster there in Seattle.
That's
Smith
true.
Schuster looked like a number one because he had Antonio Brown beside him. Once Antonio Brown left, Smith Schuster didn't do a thing because everybody focused on him. And he hasn't been anything since. So I get what you're saying. I get that. But if you put Higgins on a contending team with a different number one that has the salary cap to pay him
Well,
like another
and
number
that I
one.
mean, if in that case, I mean, because if you have a number one, I think at some point you have to pay him. So I think that in that case, Burrow and Chase should give up some of their contracts to keep him because I think it just makes them more productive. And in the end,
You think
they
they
all
will
make a
though?
better. No
It's a
idea.
business.
Couldn't speak to that.
It's a business,
Well, but y'all, if you're winning,
right?
you get better more in the promotion money, right? And the
You
outside
get
money.
paid. You get paid more if you make the playoffs.
They get way more from the clubs. So, um, and so the opposite of what the Bengals have, they have players that they want to keep. You've got the Giants who have decided that it's. I mean, you saw what the Broncos did to Russell Wilson, and the Giants are saying, "Hold my beer. I'm going to show you how we play this game." Uh,
True.
what are you telling me? They signed another
So
quarterback, so Jones doesn't even have
so
to.
the Giants have brought in Tim Boyle to be their third string quarterback, merely for the fact that means they could make Daniel Jones their fourth string quarterback. And what that means for the Giants is that they cannot officially deactivate Daniel Jones because he is not hurt, but they do not have to utilize him in games, nor dress him in games, or utilize him in practice to
Yeah.
prevent them from having to pay a $23 million injury hit if he gets hurt during this season. Now, they're already paying him $40 million for this year. That they
40
can't
million
get out of. But if he gets hurt during the season in an NFL facility doing something NFL related, they have to pay him $23 million next year. So they signed a veteran, Tim Boyle, for next to nothing to save
to make
them.
him the four.
Huh?
To make him the four.
Yeah,
He's
to
all the
make
way
him the
down.
four to save
What was
them
the
a
total? What
possibility
was
of not
what
paying
was the
23
total?
million.
What was the total contract? 160 million.
Uh 4 year 100 was 120 million
Okay,
with
90 million guaranteed. Is that what it was?
90
90
million
something.
guaranteed. No, yeah, 90 million guaranteed and some signing bonus. I don't remember. I can look it up real quick.
No, it's good, but Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of money to pay your fourth string quarterback. So
And now you got
now,
the
where does he
Italian
go?
playing in DeVito.
We got to keep moving on. I don't want to keep it too long tonight, but
Gotcha.
uh, the where do you think he ends up next year? If you had to guess, bold prediction. Another section, bold prediction.
Canada? I don't know. Maybe Cleveland.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Winston has not been a suitable backup slash starter as we've seen. I could see Cleveland possibly bringing somebody in. Maybe, possibly Las Vegas. Minshew,
Yeah,
what they were expecting.
yeah,
Minshew's
not
not
didn't
that.
happen. Yeah,
I mean, those would be my two top picks, I would assume.
where's another good QB coach like like the Harbaughs, like the Sean Paytons? I wonder if Jones could go there and develop into some of the higher. And I still don't understand why they paid him after what he's done, but hey, who
What has he
knows?
done?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Like, why pay him?
right.
Uh, we were talking earlier, and I think this is kind of how we're gonna get into the rhubarb here right at the end. Is we were talking, kind of switching gears a little bit from football to baseball. Awards were announced today,
Yep.
and go ahead.
So Shohei Ohtani, $700 million man, did not pitch a single pitch this season. Won back-to-back MVPs. NL, then or AL, then NL. One of three players ever to win it in both leagues. Man had an all-time, or he had a career best 310, 54, 130 because he did not pitch. First ever in MLB history with a 50 home run, 50 stolen base season. Here's where Will and I got into a discussion. Wrigley, I know you're upset about this as well.
Thanks, Wrigley.
Do you bring him back next year and make him pitch? I understand it is on average $70 million a year, even though that's not what he's getting paid while he's playing. But he took a team that already had the best record in the MLB and made them better as a pure hitter. Do you bring him back as a very, very, very good pitcher, but maybe not the best pitcher in the league when you have by far the best hitter in the league? Do you risk him getting hurt again and then risking that whole 70 million to be both, or do you lean on him doing what he's proven he can do?
I mean, this is the answer I think I love to give, but I guess to a point it depends. My opinion is you make him pitch, and you know the reason I say this is for the money, and I don't even know if you really need to do this based on the Dodgers offense. I mean, I don't know exactly who stays and who goes after the series, but um, based on their performance, I don't know that you really need to go get a DH. But if you did, here's for according to USA Today, the top 10 uh, designated hitters, DHs in the league. Otani is 70 million. Giancarlo Stanton is 32. This is obviously per year. Schwarber is 20. Ozuna Braves is $18 million, and Jimenez for the White Sox is $13.8 million. So if you're talking about a designated hitter comparable, I mean, you go get 2 designated hitters for what they're paying him. You just can't justify that. I think he could still. Is it a risk, especially now that because he had Tommy John, right? And,
Yep.
and he had Tommy John in 23, right? And they just decided to sit him for this year. So now he's
No, he pitched
almost
last year.
right, but the Tommy John surgery was in 23,
Right,
and they
right,
still
right.
decided to rest him. So I think okay, now he's rested. He should be okay. Listen, if he has a second injury as a pitcher, do you have that discussion? Absolutely, I think you do. But then also you have a contract negotiation because it's like, okay, wait a minute here. But again, like you said, you can go get 2 DHs for $70 million. You can get the number 2, Giancarlo Stanton, and the number 3. Wait, and the number 4, 28 plus 32 is what, 60, and you're still under what you're paying Ohtani. So you go find the top 3 DHs in the league in 24 for still less than you're paying Ohtani as a DH. Now, you add in his pitching stats, and I was trying to pull up his pitching stats, but I couldn't get him up. But yeah, I think he's got to be in the rotation too. I think you're paying him,
I
put him in the
understand.
rotation. That's where
So
he
when you
really pops that
when you
value.
signed him to the contract, you signed him as a dual player. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Were you expecting him to be the player he was this year hitting?
I
You
mean,
were
personally,
expecting
I
good.
don't think so. I wasn't. I mean, you come back from Tommy John, you're only the designated hitter. You're used to playing both ways and being more involved on a different basis on that kind of thing. And you come up and you do really. I mean, hats off to him. What a ball player.
But
There's
now
no
he can
doubt he's
actually
a ball player.
focus on that side of the ball. Where if he were pitching, some of that BP falls off. Some of those trainings fall off. He now has to go to the bullpen. He now has to
Yeah, but I mean, the guy's still a hell of a pitcher too. I still
he
think you
is.
make some of that up on a regular basis when you're on the
I'm
mound.
not arguing that he shouldn't be. I'm saying the guy's a hell of a pitcher. The guy should be a pitcher. I'm saying, do
Yeah.
you risk losing him as both to another injury? When you're coming fresh off a World Series, you're coming fresh. The man was .004 from winning the Triple Crown
Yeah.
in the NL.
Yeah.
What is that? 2, maybe 3 hits on a 162 game series or season?
Yeah.
2 or
I
3
mean,
hits?
yeah. But I mean, you could still go out and in theory,
What
obviously,
Schwarber
maybe
hit?
not.
Schwarber hit home runs. He was below the Mendoza line. He was below 200 for the season, I believe. I think he was like 198 or something stupid.
Still, for the contract, I mean, those are just contract numbers, right?
I agree.
I mean, and there's some underpaid. Those are the top, highest paid designated hitters. I think you can do, and you obviously, even if he got injured as a pitcher, you could pay him half his salary essentially for the next year, and go get a designated hitter, and you're not out anything. So
So you pay
just the
him half his
value is
salary
not there.
next year at $1 million.
Now you're using the deferred term. Okay, tax attorney. I didn't know you're working for the IRS now. Whatever.
I'm merely stating.
Listen, I'm going to call
Yes,
you in
your
April.
return on
You better help me
investment
out.
wouldn't be as good if you only used him as a DH. But let me ask you this: if you could use him as a batter, solely a batter, for the next 5 to 7 years, and he were to put up the numbers that he were to put up right now, and you could tell your fans, yes, we paid $70 million a year on average to win you 3 or 4 World Series. Do you think your fans would be upset by those numbers that you spent? Or on the converse, you say, well, we saved money,
Yeah.
Mr. Jed Hoyer. We saved money, and we brought in 2 DHs for the same price as Shohei Ohtani. They didn't really perform, but we brought them in, and you didn't win a World Series during this time.
Here's the kicker, right? Because here's what you really have to think about, is if they were really paying him $70 million a year, they couldn't afford the rest of the roster.
No.
Because it's deferred.
Once he retires, they're in big trouble.
So you're selling it now to win in the short term. So if it's a short-term game, which I don't think it's a 5-7 year game even, I think you pitch him, right? Just get the value out of him. This is again,
if you're guaranteed to be screwed after he's gone, and you think you might get 3 World Series by him hitting the way he has, you're going to be screwed regardless.
So you think they do it? You think they'll
pitch him? That's what they signed him as. They will. I'm just saying I don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
We did. Well, hey, let us know what you think. Let us know on our picks. And we didn't get to the NFL picks, but it's coming up. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We're going to be off next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And, enjoy your turkey. You're going to have some gravy. Are you a gravy guy?
Yeah. Do I not look like a gravy guy?
So, pumpkin or pecan?
Pumpkin. For sure.
I'm a pecan guy. But all right, well, let us know your thoughts. Are pumpkin and pecan DH only for Ohtani? I'm a lot nuts. DH only for Ohtani, or should you have him hit both ways? Do both ways, and then let us know your picks too. What you think? Is KC gonna stay? Go back and win out the year? Do the Bengals make the playoffs? We're interested to know your picks. Hit us up at the therhubarbpodcast at gmail.com or at Twitter X at Rhubarb Podcast.
Before we finish, I just want to give a shout out. Congratulations, 72 Dolphins. Pop that champagne.
You think they do it every year?
I'm sure I would.
All right. Thanks from the Rhubarb, guys. You guys have a good one.